Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
If it's not obvious by now, I'm bored, although they say that boredom always precedes a period of great creativity. We will see about that. I'm currently on my 3-week winter break, and after the holidays I've reached a point where I'm completely out of fun ideas. During the holidays I managed to eat so much that I don't even dare go near a scale, so I really don't feel like cooking anything fancy. Lately I've done so many push-ups that my right wrist clicks so much it could pass as a telegraph and start sending Morse code on its own. Therefore, I don't even feel like working out anymore. I'm certainly not that bored. I also picked up a DSi XL not long ago, so I'm slowly getting close to owning the whole DS family. At this point, I'm not just struggling with where to store them, but also with what to actually use them for. For some reason, I just love handheld gadgets. I love the form factor, the buttons feel good to press, the screen is just big enough to look nice, and the fact that it can fit in a pocket is a huge plus, or at least for the ones that actually do. That's probably why I ended up buying a Stylophone back in the day, and of course I was heavily influenced by the dozens of videos on YouTube. Maybe it's finally time to actually try this thing out. Or I could start preparing for a German language exam, or even apply for a second university degree, which has been a long time dream of mine.
Seems like a step backwards, but alright.
The Stylophone is an analog pocket synthesizer. To play it, all you have to do is touch the stylus to the metal contacts on the circuit board. In short, you turn it on, crank the volume to max, and thanks to the paper-thin walls of modern apartment buildings, you can immediately start driving the neighbors crazy. I said drive the neighbors crazy. Safety and price, right? Where am I supposed to get 3 batteries right now? Wait a minute.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Are you kidding me?
But wait! There's more!
Which idiot forgot to charge the batteries?
It was me all along!
With a gentle motion, we place the batteries into the charger and charge them up you wish. Fortunately, there's an expensive solution for that too. After a quick 5 hours, they will be ready to use. So what am I supposed to do to kill time until then? This guy is really killing it. Megalovania actually sounds pretty good on a Stylophone. Hey, this is the Morrowind main theme. I love that game so much. Maybe I should spend the remaining 4 hours and 55 minutes playing it again, getting high on skooma with Kai's Cossades and trying to achieve Chim. That's it! This is the kind of metal I want to be. Now I remember, that's exactly why I bought a Stylophone back in the day. As an ancient Chinese saying goes, you can play Doom on literally anything. It has to be here somewhere. Aha, there's a tab. It looks super simple in the video. I practically memorized it already. How did it go?
A few moments later. 1 hour later. Two hours later.
This is stupid.
You are made of stupid.
Spaß haben, anspruchsvoll, der Kunde, die Kunden. I hope I haven't missed the application deadlines.
You know what your third language, the notes.
I need a coffee. This has to be a bad joke. What the actual freak? You are not going to leave me alone until you've made your money's worth, right? Let's do something. No, what am I supposed to do with you? I had big hopes for you, then it turned out I don't know how to deal with music. My great idea with full of hope went down the drain. What am I gonna do with it now? What am I gonna do with my life? I'm not as creative with ideas as I thought I would be. I'm always waiting for a miracle with these silly things of mine.
Hey! What's the big idea?
Weed.
Let him cook! Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him cook!
Before I move on, it's worth clearing up two things. In case it wasn't obvious so far, I have problems with music, like IGN with ratings below 7, and when it comes to programming, I can only manage as much as the daily free tokens allow. Alright, maybe a little more than that. That said, purely for fun, I still wanted to make this video, so please, keep that in mind. I'm fairly certain there are at least 100 more optimal ways to handle the controls, but that wasn't my goal here. My goal was simply to create some entertaining content. Oh, and I almost forgot, I'm going to do the whole thing on a macOS, because if I'm going to take on a difficult task, I like to kick myself in the balls a little beforehand. With that cleared up, let's see what kind of task I've taken on. In my opinion, it makes sense to divide the task in two main parts, the hardware side and the software side. Let's start with the part that doesn't require much thinking, just a willingness to spend a lot of money. Besides the Stylophone, I also need an audio interface, which takes care of the missing lightning connection. Should I send it back? I don't really know much about this kind of gear. My brother recommended it and he was happy with it. And besides, just look at it. If it's red, it has to be fast and reliable.
We heard the radio at the end where you said something is wrong with this.
I will also make use of the existing 3.5mm jack-to-jack cable. Meanwhile, the desk is starting to feel a bit cramped. I don't actually need the monitor, but I do need a keyboard and a mouse. There, this is much more comfortable. This never even crossed my mind. But luckily, there's an expensive solution for that too. I just plug in the charger down here and it... This is sitting way too low, let's fix the shrimp posture right away. And they call me crazy for keeping the boxes for everything. Lastly, I will tune the Stylophone. In mode 1, the tense node is supposed to produce a C, but in practice, this step can be skipped. No matter how the device is tuned, we won't actually hear it. And since I will be mapping the keys based on the exact frequencies anyway, regardless of their values, the tuning itself doesn't really matter. I jumped the gun a bit when buying Doom and didn't bother checking how to actually get it running. I picked it up during the Steam Winter Sale, but no surprises here, I can't install it. So how do you run this on macOS? Oh right, the very first Google result answers literally all of my questions. Well, that was a lot easier than I expected. For once, something actually worked on the first try. What's this? The code was written in Python with support from Copilot. Don't look at me like that and stop raising your eyebrows. I would much rather burn the Earth's rapidly depleting resources on this than on AI slop that's been flooding Instagram and YouTube. Am I right?
It's true.
That's also why I don't think the code is really worth sharing. I will be going over its most important parts anyway, and any half-decent programmer could put together something much better from that in 5 minutes. Still, if someone really needs the base code, I will be happy to send it, provided they post the solution to the following Laplace transform in the comments. The first task is to somehow make the MacBook hear the sound played by the Stylophone and identify its frequency. If the frequencies can be read quickly and reliably, each one can be mapped to a specific key press, which will then function as a keyboard command in whatever application is currently in focus. Instead of triggering a single key press, it makes more sense to register it as a continuous hold. That way, there's no need to mindlessly jerk the stylus around. Save the jerking for something else.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
So, the first part of the task is identifying frequencies. I play a note, the program listens, and it figures out the dominant frequency. In the audio settings, the input has to be switched to the audio interface being used. Then the following two lines have to be run. This returns the device index, and the value of the device index variable needs to be adjusted accordingly. That way, the system will listen on the correct channel for the sound being played. Audio is captured at a standard sampling rate of 44.1 kHz and analyzed in 150 millisecond blocks. This lets the program react quickly and continuously to incoming sounds, though it does come with a trade-off. The block size determines how much audio is processed at once. Analyzing more samples improves frequency resolution, allowing each stylophone note to be identified by a distinct frequency and mapped to its own key. Shorter blocks enable faster input detection, but at the cost of precision. Some notes end up sharing the same dominant frequency, which reduces the number of uniquely mappable keys. With smaller block sizes, several adjacent keys ended up sharing the same frequency. As a result, weapon selection was only possible by cycling through them, and the number of remaining keys available for other actions was limited. Widom is fairly forgiving in this regard and can be played easily with just a few inputs. I ultimately settled on a 150 millisecond block size, which led to the following key mapping. This part is definitely open to further optimization and can be tailored to individual preferences. Given that only one input can be detected at a time and that this type of control scheme was completely new to me, I played the game on the easiest difficulty. That said, to avoid looking like a complete wimp, I didn't map backpedaling.
We don't do that here.
The sound device library calls the audio callback function every time new audio data is received. The signal is converted to mono, then passed on to the frequency detection logic, and finally the detected frequency is printed to the terminal. The frequency detection itself applies a small amount of smoothing to the signal and uses a fast Fourier transform to convert the sound from the time domain into the frequency domain. As a bonus, the code also includes a noise threshold to avoid detecting false inputs. This might be totally overkill, but in cases of poor contact, when the intended note doesn't quite come through, even the threshold may fail to filter it out. I carefully wrote down the detected frequency values like a diligent little student. After that, it was time to put together the final version of the code. The first two steps of the underlying logic remain essentially unchanged. I play a note and the program detects its frequency. The next step is assigning a specific key command to each of these frequencies, which is exactly what the following section handles. At this point, you might wonder, if the dominant frequencies are clearly identifiable, why use these ranges instead of exact values? The pitch of the stylophone depends on the battery charge, and it can shift as the batteries drain. On top of that, even with the tuning knob recessed, it's still easy to bump it or adjust it accidentally. And there's one more important detail. While the numbers in the code are obviously just numbers,
1, 2, 3, 4 all together. 4!
The program itself distinguishes between number row keys and the numeric keypad. In the settings, weapon switching only worked for me when using the keypad numbers. I assume the two number sets send different scan codes, which is why the regular number keys cause issues. Also, this is where continuous key presses are actually implemented in the logic, using the following lines, and the whole thing ultimately runs as real-time input simulation. Instead of further optimizing the code, I threw together a graphical user interface, because, after all, fashion over function. That's it for the code. I've talked enough already, let's see the whole thing in action.
Fucking finally, god damn it.
And that's pretty much it. A bit clunky, a bit dumb, but definitely entertaining.
Here we are. And if you look, come to think of it, well, I gotta look at this myself. Wow. What a view.
Recently I watched a Hungarian talk about trackers, and it was fascinating to see how complicated and expensive it used to be to make music on the Commodore 64. You had to manually type code from magazines just to get the software running. Now we have reached a point where all of that is freely available on the internet, and for the price of a couple of buttons you can buy genuinely cool, pocket-sized analog instruments and actually make decent music with them. Wow, it just hit me. I haven't eaten anything today. Now I'm really craving some peanut butter. I am going to make myself a slice. Be good until the next video and take care. God, I love eating.
Do you have any information on what they stole? I don't know. But as long as they don't touch the peanut butter, because I did stuff to it.
Ah.